The reason why I became an Arrowsmith teacher was I heard about it from a family that was here in Toowoomba and heard Barbara speak, and I said, you know, that'd be something I'd really love to do, making a difference for students that were in need in such an amazing way. I ended up going to Canada and training to be an Arrowsmith teacher and didn't look back. It was one of the best things I've ever done in my life. For me, the joy and excitement comes from when there's a breakthrough. Seeing students that have struggled all their lives and have problems with their self-esteem, think that they're dumb, think that they're not going to amount to anything, have this yearning in them to be something and to be able to learn, but just not able to do it. To see those students work so hard and receive breakthroughs is a wonderful thing, an amazing thing. I remember one girl who could not remember what she had learnt from one day to the next. So you can imagine how difficult that was for her to have worked hard at something, felt like she sort of might have understood it, and then by the next day it was gone. One day she came back to class. She'd been home to her home that was on, the other side of Australia, and she came bouncing in. And I said, how was your holiday? She said, oh, Miss, I went to see The Lion King. I said, oh, really? Was that good? She said, yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it, but boy, it was annoying. And I said, what do you mean it was annoying? She said, well, for a week or 2 weeks after I'd been, all I kept thinking about was what I'd seen, and it kept coming into my mind all the time, and I couldn't get it out. And what was happening, her memory had switched on, and she was starting to remember things. And this was the first time she's experienced it, so it was annoying for her. But just seeing that continue to grow, and she started to remember her childhood and things that had happened. And her mother would mention things and she'd say, yes, I remember that. So to me, that was like a miracle, really. And she was one of the most hard-working students I've ever taught. And she came ahead in leaps and bounds and was a different person at the end. I remember the day that early on in my teaching, where we had a student that didn't have any visual memory at all. So where normally people would be able to close their eyes and recall a picture or a word, he was not able to do that. And every day he would try and try and try until about 6 months in, and all of a sudden there was this exclamation from the computer he was sitting at. And he said, I've got colours like rainbows flashing through my vision when I've got my eyes shut, and it's just like rainbows. And his visual memory had switched on, and from then on he was able to start recalling things that he'd seen, and that was an amazing day as well. There's so many stories like that. I would teach a student, she could never do maths, she could never add up in her mind. And one day she came back to class and she said to me, I was crying last night. And I said, oh, are you okay? She said, yeah, it was tears of joy, not tears of sadness, because I was sitting there and I was adding up numbers in my head. And it's the first time I've ever been able to do that in my life. And that was amazing. Arrowsmith gives people their lives back. And I think it sets them free to become the people they were really meant to be. And that's why I love it so much.